Hi. Thank you so much for letting me be your guest once again. Back in September, I had the opportunity to share how I had been looking to find peace within myself, even when everything around me felt uncertain. I talked about how much this community means to my family, learning about accepting fear, letting go of the idea of fixing yourself. And I started with the 4 mantras given to me by my therapist, Dr. Misha Cohen-Peck. I am whole and complete. I am all be. I am worthy and I'm lovable. No matter what outside stimulus, no matter what difficulty or hardship, or local, national, global tragedy is weighing on me, I can start with those 4 mantras, something to hold on to that I can trust, and I can love myself. I can be witness to my own and celebrate it. And as June is Pride Month, I can also take pride in myself, plus it's a good excuse to clap my fan as loud as I want to. It's a little warm in here, and I highly encourage you to clap your fan as loud as you want to, too. Both figuratively and metaphorically, love yourself, forgive yourself when you can't, and be patient and kind with yourself as you build that peace within you. And so this is where, in the first draft of my sermon, I gave a list, a litany, all the awful things that have happened since that September. Examples of communities who have been hurt, terrible injustices, all from this wicked world. A world that is sad and afraid and not to be trusted, but to be lamented and saved from. Fear is easy, it's pure, it's effective. Fear divides us into individual groups, sorts us, and separates us. And I realized when I was writing from this fear within myself to say something like that from this position, used from up here, I was reminded it's a rhetorical device, one that I learned. This was the tool of my church growing up. Cautionary tales. Danger. Yeah, my original intent today was to show how small I felt over the past couple of months, but y'all don't need to be reminded how cold this world can feel. So instead, I'll have you take it on faith that it's been a rough couple of months, and I can imagine it's been pretty rough for y'all too. And I'm here for you. And my genuine hope is that today is a more joyful occasion. So what did I do? Well, I went back to Dr. Misha Cohen-Peck, of course. You know, maybe she had a secret 5th mantra for me. What she actually had me do was look up Pauli Murray. And do y'all know Pauli Murray? I didn't know Pauli Murray. You know Pauli. I've told you about Pauli Murray. I've talked about nothing but Pauli Murray for the past month. Anyway, I only have time up here to share a part of the book jacket of this person's extraordinary life, but I highly encourage you to look up the documentary My Name is Pauli Murray, or Pauli's own memoir, Song in a Weary Throat. In 1913, Pauli Murray was a kid who wanted to wear pants all the time, but was forced to wear a dress to church on Sundays. Later, through the Great Depression, they spent their youth riding the rails, passing masculine the whole time, going by names like Pete and the Dude. They literally went by the Dude. That is powerful trans-masculine energy, far before the time when such terms were popularized. By the way, today the Pauli Murray Institute encourages they, he, and she pronouns to be used interchangeably when describing Pauli Murray to, quote, embrace the individual and fluid nature of gender. I like that very much. In 1938, Pauli Murray was rejected from the University of North Carolina because of the color of their skin. When they wrote to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who just received an honorary degree to UNC, Pauli Murray received no reply. So they wrote to the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, who did reply and said that the South was changing, but that Pauli shouldn't push too fast. So instead, Pauli Murray pursued a degree in law at Howard University, so they may help change the laws that would deny access to higher education on the basis of race. Not later, but now. It's a rhetorical argument, kid. I'm just up here talking to everybody. In 1940, Pauli Murray was arrested for refusing to move to the segregated section of the bus. When Pauli told the guard that the cell was crawling with bed bugs, they were told, "Quiet, or I'll throw your ass in the dungeon." Upon release, they would write, as their senior paper, work that would be included in Plessy versus Ferguson 10 years later, overturning segregation and way for civil rights cases to come. Pauli Murray graduated at the top of their class at Howard, which meant automatic admittance into Harvard. Pauli Murray was denied access again, this time based on their gender. So they went to UC Berkeley instead, and then to Yale for their doctorate. Yale would then go on to open the Pauli Murray College. You can attend there now. It opened in 2016. But back in 1940, no law firm would take a black female attorney, and even one with multiple degrees in law. So instead, Pauli Murray set up their own law firm. And one day in court, they represented a sex worker, and an eyewitness for the prosecution identified Pauli not as legal counsel, but as the prostitute they claimed to see performing a crime. Because how could somebody who looks like Pauli Murray possibly be a lawyer? That didn't deter them. In 1961, they would help found the National Organization of Women and ensured that demands for equal protection of law extended both to race and gender, a radical idea at the time. And in 1973, when Pauli Murray's longtime partner, Eileen Barlow, died of cancer, they had no way of expressing to her friends and loved ones what their relationship meant. As history so often erases queer relationships, Pauli was seen by friends and loved ones and writers only as losing a friend, a close friend. So that tore them up. But then, while Pauli Murray was searching for an answer, they found that they needed a better spiritual understanding of life and beyond, and that search led them to become the first African-American Episcopalian priest who was later sainted in 2012. So why did my doc send me to Pauli Murray? Well, because when Pauli Murray saw the injustice in the world, they realized, quote, "I needed a weapon. I needed a skill," which is the advice I share with you today. When you leave today, go home, stop everything you're doing, become a lawyer, a priest, and go fix the world. Also become a poet and a professor. I mentioned she wrote poems, right? And was tenured at Brandeis. All right, good. Just do all of that, and you're going to be great. You're missed and everything. But I don't think that's actually what my doc had in mind, because what I actually got from discovering this impossible person is a reminder that pain doesn't have to define. To remind me that everyone has the ability to affect positive change in the world in multiple ways, that we can learn new things and grow and adapt, learn new skills at any stage in your life, and that the work that we do counts. No matter how big the adversary, no matter how deeply entrenched the injustice, the work that we do can lead to lasting and powerful change for good, both in history and today. And I need to be reminded of that. Because in hindsight, I've spent a lot of life trying to find both an identity and a helpful way of looking at my brain, and for a long time, I didn't have a good answer. You know, you go into therapy, you expect to be asked about your childhood. And the truth is, I had it great growing up. Hi again to Dad and Mom, who's both listening on Zoom. I was really lucky to get to grow up as I did. And I'm so grateful for everything that my given to me. I just didn't know some really important things about myself. Dr. Peck challenged me to look back on my childhood and wonder what a younger London would think of me today. They didn't have the language, the understanding of myself. Would they hate me? Would they recognize me? Would I scare them? Thank you. And all I want to do is go back and help that kid and let them know that just because they couldn't parse their feelings, that those feelings were still real and they didn't have to hurt, and that eventually it gets so much better. Through our work together, my doctor taught me that I don't need to define myself by the pain that I couldn't describe. That instead of spiraling around what if, I could instead be grateful to my younger self for continuing to move forward, for the work they did to get me here. And this was a tough one, that I could consider myself courageous, which I've always fought back on, because how could I be courageous? Just for surviving. And through a lot of work, I figured out that answer was yes. That is important. It counts. I stuck with it. And I figured out how to love myself, and I got myself on the right medication. And that can be hard. See? So, no matter what your situation today, don't lose hope. Hopelessness is an intentional tool. We're taught that the walls are too tall, that the problems are too big. It's a tool wielded against us to keep us quiet and easy, and pride is a loud celebration. It's a riot, an opportunity to remember those whose work brought us this far, and I'm so grateful to Pauli Murray, to Marsha P. Johnson, to Sylvia Rivera, to Reed Erickson, and Janet Mock, and the countless other trans and gender-expansive activists that have made my life as it is today possible. This month, we celebrate the radical idea that you can be proud of who you are today, imperfect and beautiful, proud of your strength, proud of the work you've accomplished, and proud of the work you'll do today and tomorrow, because you can do that work. I mean, not like 3 whole law degrees, Pauli Murray, wild, but still. We have the best chance ever today to make life better for the people that we love, and that's because of the work that comes before us. Plus, I truly believe that we have access to better communication, better information. It's getting much harder to erase history these days. And only through other queer and neurodivergent stories was I able to find myself. And it is my sincere hope that I get to continue sharing that message to everyone I can. And again, thank you so much for letting me be here today. We can share our experiences now, and we can share our victories loudly and joyfully. For example, this year, Equality Texas ensured that over 30 anti-LGBTQ bills lobbied in Texas were thrown out. That's all of them, by the way. Youth sports bans, defeated. Taking away healthcare from trans youth, defeated. Making it illegal to change your ID, defeated. In Texas. It's incredible. Here's another. Moms Demand Action, the largest volunteer group promoting gun control in America, now has over 8 million supporters, 121 of whom right now are running for offices across the country. Every Town for Gun Safety is spending millions of dollars to educate, train, and mentor candidates at local, state, and federal levels. That's incredible. Last weekend, I laughed with my wife so hard we cried. Over nothing. And Julie Garden, skincare protocol, and all the years we've loved each other and everything. My therapist gave me one more mantra. That's right, there was a secret 5th mantra. Mind-blowing. I'm whole and complete. I'm all I need to be. I'm worthy, I'm lovable, and I matter. I came to tell you that last one, because it's true, you matter. The work you do on yourself is worth your time, and from there you're strong enough to learn something new, to enact meaningful change in the world, and to take pride in what you've accomplished. Remember that no one person can do everything, except for Pauli Murray, who kinda did. But if you're like me and you haven't been sainted by the Episcopalian Church yet, don't sweat it. Just remember that these walls around us have been around us for a long time. Our work today while different is not new and change has always been possible, and hope continues to live. And even in times and places where love is forbidden and unspoken, it exists, and that while we are unique, we are not alone.